It all started with whispers, which turned into shocking headlines, and now fans are shocked to learn that Yandy Smith has officially filed for divorce following rumors that Mendeecees may have fathered a child with none other than Erica Mena. Although there is no concrete evidence, people close to the matter say that a DNA test. According to sources, Erica has been claiming for weeks that she was having a covert affair with Mendeecees and that her current pregnancy was not a coincidence but rather the result of something far more scandalous. Yandy initially disregarded the accusations, but is now reportedly furious after realizing the child's similarities to her husband. A test is currently underway which could change. As the DNA results get closer to being released, tensions have increased behind closed doors, with sources warning that this could potentially push Yandy to do something that would truly betray her. Is Erica telling the truth? And could this be the final straw in a failing marriage? Stay with us because this story, the rumors about Mendeecees and Erica Mena had been going around for weeks, but no one expected things to get this out of hand. It started with a few unclear Instagram photos with enigmatic comments, and Erica appeared at parties looking a little strange. The streets were bustling, websites couldn't stop talking, and fans everywhere were glued to their screens. More radiant than usual at first, everyone thought she was just shining up, but then she was spotted with a baby bulge, and that's when the internet went crazy. As soon as Erica started giving away hints, she posted a picture of herself clutching her stomach with the caption, "Blessed with a legacy I never expected." Fans were excited to join in. Although she never named specific people, the subliminal likes on dubious remarks prompted others to start creating links. Every time someone mentioned Mendeecees, Erica would like to comment or reply with a mysterious emoji. The mystery swiftly expanded during an impromptu Instagram live. While massaging her stomach, she smiled nonchalantly into the camera and said, "Some secrets don't stay buried forever, especially when they leave behind." Fans immediately took it as a direct jab at Mendeecees, and within hours, the love was rebroadcast all over social media, and rumors began to circulate. Could she really be talking about him? More is going on. Initially, Wendy tried to remain calm and dismissed it in public, calling it a pathetic attempt to garner attention. However, those close to her claimed that she was restless behind the scenes as they scrolled through Erica's posts and even compared pictures of the baby belly to earlier images of Mendeecees. Something wasn't quite right, and as more fan theories accumulated, online it became hard to ignore. Then came the shocking revelation. One morning, a website known for exposing celebrity scandals published a shocking article asserting that Erica had personally contacted Mendeecees to tell him he had to take responsibility because the child was his. The site said she asked for a DNA test and threatened to go public if he didn't comply. The tension between Yandy and Mendeecees was that she paced the living room that night while he sat still on the edge of the sofa and asked him directly, "Did you see the screenshots of their DMs?" Some fans doubted their authenticity, while others said they were real. Yandy saw everything, and that's when things really started to fall apart behind closed doors. He rubbed his face, took a deep breath and muttered, "It was a long time ago. It didn't mean anything. It was enough." Yandy froze, her pulse pounding as if the oxygen had been sucked out of the room. She wasn't prepared to hear that. Not from him. She slammed the door behind her as she stormed out of the room, calling everyone her best friends, publicist, and even her mother. The betrayal was painful because it was her life, her family, and her marriage, and it seemed like everything was falling apart in front of her. At the same time, Erica was taking pleasure in the chaos, or at least that's what admirers assumed based on her behavior. She kept sharing selfies on the internet with intriguing remarks like, "Truth always prevails," and "He knows what he did." People started making connections, and before long, Yandy couldn't stand it any longer. She turned off her phone for the entire day in an attempt to get away from the chaos. But even silence wasn't enough to stop her from thinking about their past. The sacrifices she made, the commitment she made, the years she waited for him while he was behind, and now this potential child with someone like Erica seemed like the height of betrayal. A few days later, Mendy told her that the DNA test was underway and Erica had completed it. He agreed to it only to put an end to things permanently, but by then, the damage had already been done. The warmth was gone. The laughter and private jokes vanished under the weight of mistrust and grief. And things got worse when their kids started asking, "Why are you sleeping in the other room, Mommy?" Yandy was unable to even look him in the eye anymore, so she withdrew into the guest room and avoided any kind of contact. Yandy didn't know how to respond when her daughter asked one night, so she simply hugged her and said, "Sometimes people need space to think," but inside she was crumbling. How do you explain treachery to a child? As the days passed, admirers' views became even more divided. Some accused Mendeecees of causing strife and harming a family, while others criticized Erica for. Everyone seemed to have something to say, except for the three people at the center of it all. Eventually, another leak surfaced online. This time a blurry picture of what appeared to be a lab form with Mendeecees fans and Erica's name zoomed in. Yandy was insulted and humiliated in public, and others questioned her, saying she should have anticipated it. The noise only grew louder. Yandy. It was like being trapped in a never-ending nightmare. The day after that image appeared, Mendeecees tried to speak to her once more. He waited at the kitchen doorway while she poured coffee and softly muttered, "I'm sorry I never." It was examined and debated for hours. No one knew for sure if it was real or fake. "It's already happened," she said, staring into her cup without even turning around. "And sorry don't fix it." She left him standing, leaving him stunned. He tried to defend himself by telling her that it was before they were serious again, and that Erica meant the mistake as a one-time occurrence. Nothing to him, but Yandy had heard it all before, and this time it didn't land. It didn't lessen the blow. In fact, it made her feel worse because, if it meant nothing, why did it happen at all? Their marriage's cracks weren't just visible. They were exploding, and everyone knew that things would get much worse with the DNA results, which were reportedly just a few days away. At that point, a new rumor surfaced that drastically changed the atmosphere. The bloggers then surfaced another rumor, this time claiming that Erica had previously received the DNA results and had informed a close friend that the child was Mendeecees. However, the friend allegedly disclosed their private correspondence to a gossip website, Heightened. While no one could verify the authenticity of the text, the tone, timing, and sudden silence from both Yandy and Mendeecees had caused screenshots of the alleged exchange to spread like wildfire. One message purportedly said, "I knew it. I just needed the proof to shut them all up. Now he has to deal with the truth." The story took on a life of its own within hours, and people demanded answers. Meanwhile, Yandy was overwhelmed with emotions. She hadn't seen the test results herself, but the whispers were too loud to ignore. Her thoughts kept going in all directions. What if it were true? What if he had another child? What if her entire marriage had been based on false information? She tried to seem together for the children, but every time she looked at Yandy, she saw only betrayal and anxiety. It reached its peak during a family dinner when they invited some close relatives over to try to normalize things for the children, but everything seemed off. The conversation was forced, the laughter was forced, and the awkward silence between Yandy and Mendeecees became louder than ever before until one of Mindy's cousins broke the ice by saying, "Yo, are you okay, bro? All this stuff online has me wondering." That was it. Yandy put down her fork, slowly wiped her mouth, and got to her feet. You know what she said, her voice cracking? "I'm wary of pretending that everything's okay. It's really not." She left the room. Mendeecees, shocked, followed her into the hallway and tried to argue with her, saying, "Baby, please don't do this right now." Yandy retorted, "Not now." Mendeecees looked down, disheartened. "You don't even know the findings yet, and that's the problem. If the entire world finds out that you're someone's daddy again after another lady gets to put your child on the gram." Not even the strong, collected Yandy admirers knew night when she emailed her closest friend and said, "I think it's over. I can't keep pretending." The friend, however, had already started making headlines and speculating about a likely divorce when she reported, "I don't know anything anymore." Loyalists were alarmed by the language, which read, "cracks in the empire," and, "Is this the end of Yandy and Mendeecees?" The couple's silence only made things worse behind closed doors, so Yandy started taking action. She called a lawyer to understand her options rather than file right away because she wanted to know what it would mean for her, her kids, and herself. Mendeecees appeared torn, apologizing one moment and defending himself the next, saying that Erica was just lying to destroy him and playing games. Yandy didn't care that Erica won. Instead, she was worried about the fact that Mendeecees wasn't telling her. If she split, Mendeecees wasn't prepared to pull the gun, but the idea was there. Then came the unexpected confrontation, and instead of implying or being cryptic, Erica went live again and said, "Some men will sit in your face and lie even when the proof is staring them down. Just know I have the truth in you." She lost faith in him every time he avoided the truth, questioned him, or blamed someone else. Fans lost it. Comments were crazy. "Drop the test. Tag him. Don't tease." Expose within minutes. Gossip blogs snipped the live and uploaded it, making headlines out of every word. Her jaw clenched as she watched the live stream on her phone. Still, she managed to keep her composure. For weeks, but this finally got to her. She took her keys, left the house, and drove off without a destination because she so badly wanted space, air, and clarity. Hours later, she found herself parked outside her lawyer's office. She didn't do anything but sit there in her car and gaze at the building, wondering what it would mean if she entered. Freedom failure Mandy sat by himself at home, perhaps at the start or end of her story, looking through his phone while observing the world fall apart around him. He had made mistakes before, but this one felt different and could cost him everything. Just when things seemed to be getting out of control, a new message came in, asking him if he was ready to admit it. As the night wore on, Yandy finally arrived home, quieter, colder, and more distant than ever. She didn't say anything. Ward simply went upstairs and closed the door. He stared at the screen, not answering, just frozen. The weight of that message and everything that had happened before it settled on his shoulders like bricks. The bloggers wrote a vague post the following morning. A dark person appears to be standing outside what appears to be a DNA testing lab in a snapshot that ignited the internet once more. Some people said the image was fake, while others believed it was unquestionable proof. The speculation reached a fever pitch, and influencers created response videos. Even cast members from Love and Hip Hop started to gently weigh in. The entire community was abuzz, and it appeared as though the ultimate truth was only a matter of seconds away from being exposed as rumors swirled, and one person sent a tweet that said, "Karma always comes back around." Another person posted an enigmatic Instagram story that stated, "Some secrets don't remain buried forever." The public entertainment fans she used to enjoy were now scrutinizing every move she made, analyzing her silence, and blaming her, accusing her of being uninformed or complicit. Yandy felt herself drowning in a sea of views, and every ping of her phone served as a reminder that her private suffering had been betrayed and left unanswered. I didn't realize that Yandy was collapsing behind that quiet facade. She stopped going to events, canceled the podcast interview, and avoided social media entirely because she wanted to distance herself from her own reality as well as from the outside world. The walls of their home, which had once been filled with love and joy, now echoed with mistrust and anxiety. Even the smallest things started to trigger her. During the early days of their relationship, Mendeecees tried to keep things normal, especially around the children, but the gaps were too great to conceal. One night, when he put the baby to bed, he foolishly asked his father, "Why does mommy always feel sad?" And that broke him. He sat there in the dark, clutching his. Erica didn't let up, continuing to fan the flames without publicly identifying anyone by posting cryptic phrases like, "Truth has a funny way of revealing itself when you least expect it," and "DNA does not lie." The child felt more helpless than he had in years, and he wasn't prepared to realize how serious his mistakes were. When Erica gained the upper hand and was prepared to take advantage of the moment that everyone had been waiting for, a major gossip website appeared with an apparent copy of the DNA test results, though the document was partially obscured and the identities were removed. Each post sent to her supporters praised her bravery, but opponents accused her of being vindictive and nasty, which Erica didn't care for. To have verified that the test source indicated a 99.98% chance that Mendeecees was Erica's child's biological father. The website even claimed that Erica had covertly sent in a second sample for verification weeks earlier. Both results matched, and the internet went crazy for CRC fans, who at the time expressed shock but also said they weren't shocked they crowded the. One person said, "He genuinely thought he could hide an entire baby in the common area with surprise, indignation, and derision." Another user wrote, "Yandy deserved better, and she gave him everything." Memes spread quickly when news sources took up the story, and fan sites started unfollowing men who were even confirmed to be famous. Despite not being officially recognized, the confirmation seemed genuine to her. She spent hours staring at the image, mentally reenacting every scene. Mendeecees took all late-night phone calls and disputes without her that night. When Yandy remained silent about this collapse, the DNA leak was the final blow. Everything made sense to him as she held out her phone and said, "For the last time I saw it." With the hazy DNA result, Mendy sat quietly on the sofa and slowly looked up, as if he had asked, "Do I even have a reason not to?" Her voice was harsh, but her eyes were exhausted. He rose up and walked toward her, reaching out. "Baby," she interrupted, saying, "Don't baby me. I gave you numerous opportunities to tell me the truth, but you repeatedly lied to me about not wanting to hurt me." The argument grew louder, with yells resonating throughout the house. Luckily, the kids were sleeping upstairs, But the emotional toll of the situation seemed to be immense, and Mendeecees finally admitted that he had. He had been with Erica for a short time during a difficult time, but he never imagined it would come back to haunt him in this way. I swear to God, he begged her to tell me she was pregnant. But she didn't tell me until later. Even after the baby was born, I didn't trust her. Yandy shook her head, so he kept it to himself, hoping it would go away. He didn't address that silence more than any words could. Yandy. Suitcase. Not for good, but for space. The next morning, Mendeecees wanted time to think. So she left the house and stayed with a friend in Brooklyn who had experienced similar things as her and knew how much pain she was going through. She did more than just cry while she was away. She intended to call a publicist, a crisis manager, and her lawyer to protect herself, her kids, and her reputation. She was aware that the Globe would review everything she did next, and that's when the biggest shock of all happened. A grainy video that was captured on someone's phone but was still clear enough to identify the people in it showed Mendeecees and Erica at a restaurant months ago. They were grinning, enjoying a drink, and seemed much more at ease than just. Fans and co-parents were shocked if this had happened when Erica announced she was expecting. It suggested that their brief romance might have been more, or maybe that Mendeecees knew about the baby all along and chose to keep it a secret. Vandy watched the video late at night, and as she scrolled through it, she felt numb and didn't cry. Oppressive silence, she came to the realization that even if they stayed together, there would be no way back. The trust had been destroyed. The damage had been done. The next morning, her lawyer called and said, "I've written everything. You don't need to file it yet, but it will be ready when you are." Mendeecees. Sensing her separation and observing another attempt was made by the media frenzy build. He sent flowers and took the time to call her. "I wrote a long note to her.